Funding for Scholastic Scrimmage is provided by the Air Products Foundation. The foundation is supported by donations from Air Products and Chemicals Incorporated as a charitable organization whose contributions provide support for educational, cultural, health, and community programs in the Lehigh Valley. The series is also made possible by Channel 39 School Services participating districts.
WLVT-TV presents Scholastic Scrimmage, a weekly program featuring teams from Lehigh Valley High Schools in a contest of quick recall. Tonight's teams are from Lehighton High School and Notre Dame High School. Your host for Scholastic Scrimmage is Harry Price.
Good evening and welcome to Scholastic Scrimmage. We'll meet the teams and the coaches, then we'll begin the contest. From Lehighton High School, they're all seniors: Angela Harleman, Stephen Surface. The captain is John Steele, Michael Berry, and we have two coaches, Wilson Rarig, teacher of mathematics, and Pat Lunt, teacher of Spanish. From Notre Dame High School, Mike Coons, a senior. The captain is Andre Kapp, a senior, Joe Warminski, a junior, Matt Hank, a junior, and the coach is Bill Harder, teacher of social studies. Channel 39 is pleased to announce that at the conclusion of the series, the Air Products Foundation will present a $1,500 scholarship award to the championship high school and a $750 scholarship award to the runner-up high school. Both of these scholarship awards will be given in the name of their Scholastic Scrimmage team. Remember, the answers to the questions on Scholastic Scrimmage require rapid recall of factual information and aren't necessarily indicative of academic training. The rules for the contest are as follows. On toss-up questions, you'll be given 10 points for each correct answer, and 10 points will be deducted for an incorrect response. If you answer incorrectly, then the opposing team will have an opportunity to answer without penalty. They'll be given 5 points for a correct answer in this situation. Of course, each correct answer to a toss-up question gives you the opportunity to answer a bonus question without penalty. Team members may confer only on the bonus questions, and the answers to these questions should be given to me by the two team captains. A buzzer will signal the end of the contest. If it sounds while a question is being asked, the game stops. If the buzzer goes off while you're answering, however, you will be permitted to complete your answer, but no bonus questions will be asked. Are there any questions? No questions about the rules. We're going to begin the contest with our first toss-up, and we're looking at a 10-point bonus. Here's your toss-up. Name the capital of the state of Maine. Lehighton, Michael.
Augusta.
Correct. Bonus 10-pointer. For 5 points each, name these national parks. First one, it's the site of therapeutic mineral waters. Name the Arkansas resort. John?
Hot Springs.
Correct. This forest contains groves of giant redwood trees. Name the California park, which bears an Indian name. John?
Sequoia.
Correct. You have your 10. Going for another toss-up, looking at a 10-point bonus. Give the definition on this multiple choice of lampoon. It's L-A-M-P-O-O-N. And I want you to give me the definition from the following. First one, mountain sheep. Second, satire. Lehighton, John.
Satire.
It is satire. Bonus, John, for you and the team. What's the title of John Keats' famous Romantic period poem describing a piece of pottery? John?
Ode to a Grecian urn.
We'll accept. Ode on a Grecian urn, more commonly known. Going for a 10-pointer, toss-up, multiple choice. The atomic number of an element means which one of the following? Does it mean the number of electrons in its nucleus, or the number of neutrons in its nucleus, or the number of protons? Lehighton, John.
The number of protons in its nucleus.
Correct. The third I was giving you. Your bonus 10-pointer. I'll give definitions, John, for two chemical terms. And again, 5 points apiece. You identify the terms. Here's the first definition. The adhering of water molecules to dissolved ions.
No response.
John, the response would be hydration. Second one, a covalent chemical bond formed by the side-to-side overlap of atomic orbitals. John?
Diatomic.
No, it would be a pi bond, as in the symbol pi bond. Toss up, going for a 10-point bonus. Consider an arithmetic sequence in which each term precedes or exceeds the previous term by 3. Let's go over that again. Consider an arithmetic sequence in which each term exceeds the previous term by 3. If the first term of the sequence is the number 2, what's the fifth term of the sequence? Lehighton, Michael.
14.
Correct. This is a visual bonus on the monitor for Lehighton. If this diagram were drawn to scale, would it represent geometric fact?
No.
John?
No.
Yes, it would. It would be 6 times the entire length of the secant, which is 10, is equal to 5 times the entire length of the secant, 12. Going for a 15-point bonus. Toss-up, multiple choice. Of the following, who served the earliest term as President of the United States? Was it Van Buren, Polk, Garfield, or Buchanan? Lehighton, Stephen.
Van Buren.
Van Buren was the 8th president. The next would be Polk, correct? Bonus 15-pointer, John. Exactly 4 countries share the west coast of South America. For 5 points each, name 3 of them. John?
Peru, Ecuador, and Chile.
Correct. Colombia is the 4th. You've got your 15. Going for a 10-pointer. Toss-up. The sentence, listen carefully. The sentence, quote, England is a fen of stagnant water, end quote, is an example of what literary device? Lehighton, Michael.
Metaphor.
It is a figure of speech in which one object is likened to another by speaking of it as if it were the other. Here's your bonus, a 10-pointer, multiple choice. In which of the following Shakespearean plays is the character Laertes found? Was it Othello, Macbeth, Hamlet, or none of the above 3? John?
Hamlet.
Correct. Brother of Ophelia and son of Polonius. Toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. For 10 points, what geological term is used to refer to the scratches on rocks and bedrock due to glacier movement? Notre Dame, Andre.
A moraine?
Incorrect. Over to Lehighton. John?
Talus.
No, it'd be striations. Striations or stria I was looking for. Here's your toss-up, this time preparing for a 10-point bonus. Members of what branch of the armed forces serve as guards at U.S. embassies? Notre Dame, Matt.
The Marines?
Marines, the United States Marine Corps. Bonus for you and the team, Andre. You give me the answer. Name the Marine sergeant who in 1987 was convicted of espionage for actions while he was stationed at the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. Andre.
Clayton Lonetree.
Correct. Toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. The expression, physician, heal thyself, comes from the New Testament. From what book of the New Testament? It's Luke. In fact, it's Luke 4:23. Toss-up. Suppose that a manager must list 6 projects in order of priority. If no ties are allowed, how many different lists are possible? Lehighton, Michael.
720.
Correct. 6 factorial. Here's your bonus. It's a visual bonus on the monitor. For what values of k is this statement true? That's the absolute value of k plus 5 is equal to the absolute value of k plus 5. John?
3 and 0 and
No.
any other
I think
positive.
we've gone too far. It would be k would have to be greater than or equal to 0. So it's any non-negative value of k. Going for a 10-point bonus, toss-up. Name the Greek philosopher who wrote the Republic describing Lehighton, Stephen.
Plato.
Correct. He described his ideal form of government. Bonus 10-pointer, John. With which of the following, multiple choice, with which of the following conflicts is the capture of Louisbourg, Cape Breton Island, associated? Would it be the American Revolution, the French Revolution, King George's War, or King Philip's War? John?
King George's War.
Correct. Toss-up. For 10 points, give me the word that starts with the letter H and refers to a tobacco pipe. with a long tube by which smoke is drawn through water in a vase and cooled? It would be hookah. That's H-O-O-K-A-H. Sometimes the H on the end is left off, and it's used principally in India and Iran. Another toss-up. Give me the first and last names of the slave who escaped to freedom in 1838. Lehighton, Stephen.
Nat Turner.
Incorrect. Nat Turner was given as the answer. I'm going over to Notre Dame. No conferring. Toss-up. Give me the first and last names of the slave who escaped to freedom in 1838, who wrote and spoke for abolition, and who titled his 1855 autobiography, My Bondage and My Freedom. It was Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass. He actually had an earlier autobiography, My Bondage and My Freedom was an add-on to that. Another toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. J.R.R. Tolkien made The Hobbit famous in his trilogy entitled Lehighton. Angela.
The Lord of the Rings.
Correct. Bonus 10-pointer. Identify the American dramatist whose plays The Emperor Jones, Strange Interlude, and Morning Becomes Electra all preceded his receiving the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1936. John?
Eugene O'Neill.
Correct. Toss-up. It's an art visual on the monitor. The architectural structure you're looking at there on the monitor has a beam supported at one end and is free at the other. For 10 points, give me the term for this kind of structure. That is a cantilever structure. Cantilever. Another toss-up. What is the molecular weight of water? Notre Dame, Joe.
18.
18's correct. Bonus 10-pointer, Andre. The progress of science has been influenced by a number of remarkably gifted individuals. I'm going to name two important discoveries or advances in science, along with the dates when they occurred. For 5 points each, I want you to identify the scientists who are credited with these achievements. The first one is the discovery of radio waves from space in 1931. Andre.
Van Allen.
No, it would be Carl Jansky, an American scientist. His work actually gave rise to radio astronomy. The second one, the discovery of oxygen's role in combustion and the naming of that element in 1777. Andre.
Priestley.
Incorrect. That would be Antoine Lavoisier. Priestley is usually credited with having developed or discovered oxygen, not developed, discovered it in 1774. We're going on now to half. We're going to take a break. It's 140 for Lehighton, 145 for Lehighton, and 20 for Notre Dame. Angela, you've watched this first round, and we've been asking contestants to tell us about their families. Would you begin, please?
My father is a pharmacist. My mother is a nurse. I have a sister who's a freshman at Lehighton and two younger brothers who are attending Franklin Elementary School.
Thank you, Angela. Stephen Surface.
My father is an elementary principal in the Lehighton district. My mother's a bookkeeper at J. McCoe Incorporated of Jim Thorpe, and my sister Lisa teaches first grade in the Quakertown school system.
Thanks, Steve. John Steele, the captain.
My father is a physician, my mother is a student at Muhlenberg College, and I have an older sister who is a pharmaceutical sales representative for the ICI Corporation.
Thanks, John. Michael Berry.
My father's a pilot for Delta Airlines. My mother's a part-time accountant. A brother Matt in the 7th grade, and a sister Megan, who's 3.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks to Lehighton. Let's go over to Notre Dame. Begin with Mike Coons.
My father is a senior engineer for AT&T. My mother is a homemaker, and I have 2 older brothers and 5 older sisters.
Thanks, Mike. Andre Cap, the captain.
My father is professor of French at Lafayette College. My mother is professor of French at Kutztown University. And I have a sister who's a systems analyst for New England Life.
Thanks, Andre. Joe Rominski.
My father is a systems technician for Bell Telephone of Pennsylvania. My mother is the cafeteria manager at Durkee Food Plant in Bethlehem. And my brother is a freshman at Notre Dame.
Thanks, Joe. Matt Hank.
My father is an employee of the Rex Roth Corporation. My mother is a student at Lehigh, and my sister is a student at Easton Area Middle School.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks to Notre Dame and to Lehighton. Again, the score at half is 145 for Lehighton, 20 for Notre Dame. Andre, you guys ought to keep your chins up because you can make up ground rather rapidly. Here's your toss-up, going for a 10-point bonus. Among all the individual British monarchs since the Battle of Hastings, name the one who reigned for the longest time. It's Queen Victoria. She ruled for 63 years, or more than 63 years, from 1819 to 1901. Queen Victoria. Another toss-up. Name the sailor whose coffin saves Ishmael at the end of Moby Dick. Lehighton, Angela.
Captain Ahab.
Not Captain Ahab. Over to Notre Dame. It's Queequeg. Queequeg's coffin saved Ishmael. Another toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. What's the name given to trees which lose their leaves at the end? It's Notre Dame, Matt.
It's deciduous.
Correct. At the end of each growing season, they lose their leaves. Here's your bonus, 10-pointer. The following principle is important in flight. Whenever the speed of a liquid or gas is increased, its internal pressure decreases. To whom is this principle attributed? Andre.
Boyle.
Not Boyle. Be Bernoulli, or Bernoulli. Jacob Bernoulli, a Swiss mathematician. Going for a 10-pointer on the monitor. If x to the negative 2 power is equal to 5, then x squared is equal to what? Lehighton, John.
1/5.
Correct. Bonus 10-pointer, John. In high-tech talk, LCD means liquid crystal display. But for 10 points, give me the exact phrase represented by the initials LCD in elementary algebra.
Least common denominator.
John?
Least common denominator.
Correct, or lowest common denominator, either one. Here's your toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. Name the Nazi war criminal known as the Butcher of Lyon. Lehighton, Michael.
Klaus Barbie.
Correct. He was tried and convicted in France during this past year, 1987. Bonus, John, for you and the team. What's the only crime defined in the Constitution of the United States? John?
Treason.
Correct. Toss-up. Give me a 5-letter term, starting with the letter D as in dog, for a funeral hymn. Notre Dame, Andre.
A dirge.
Correct. Bonus, 10-pointer, Andre. In what century does Dickens' Oliver Twist take place? Andre.
19th.
Correct. His own century. Here's your toss-up. Music listening. Listen to the excerpt. We just heard an excerpt of Symphony No. 4 in F minor, composed in 1877 by the same Russian who authored the Nutcracker Suite. Notre Dame, Andre.
Tchaikovsky.
Peter Tchaikovsky is correct. I wanted you to name him. Here's your bonus, 10-pointer, Andre. What musical time signature is commonly referred to as waltz time? Andre.
3/4.
You are correct. Toss up. What's the capital of Afghanistan? Notre Dame, Andre.
Kabul.
You are correct. Bonus 10-pointer, Andre. Cardinal Richelieu was the first or the prime minister of what country? Andre.
France.
And you should know that, or your parents would get upset, right? Here's your toss-up. I'll read the last line of a famous poem by Robert Frost, except for the last word. For 10 points, you give me the correct word to fill in the blank. That word is also the title of the poem. Here's the last line. One could do worse than to be a swinger of blank. Notre Dame, Matt.
Birches.
Correct, Matt. Bonus 10-pointer. Name the author of these lines and the work from which they're taken. The curfew tolls the knoll of parting day. The lowing herd winds slowly o'er the lea. The plowman homeward plods his weary way and leaves the world to darkness and to me. Andre.
The Plowman.
No, it's elegy written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray, one of the best-known poems in the English language. Here's your toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. What principle states that the buoyant force which a fluid exerts on a body placed in it, Lehighton, John?
Archimedes' principle?
You are correct. A fluid exerts on a body placed in it is equal to the weight of the fluid the body displaces, and it is Archimedes' principle. Bonus 10-pointer, 5 points apiece, John. Name the 2 bright stars that mark the shoulders of the constellation Orion. John?
Vega and Pollux.
No. Betelgeuse and Bellatrix, or Bellatrix. Going for a 10-pointer on the monitor. Mathematics, multiple choice. Is the value of the sine 4, cosine 1 plus cosine 4, sine 1, positive, negative, 0, or undefined? It would be a negative value. Another toss-up. How many hours are there in 1 week? Lehighton, Michael.
168.
Correct. Bonus 10-pointer. Name the syntactical error in the following sentence. Coming across the yard, the factory met my gaze. John?
The factory is in the wrong position in the sentence. It should be I saw
I wanted you to name the syntactical error, though, and I'm going to have to cut you off there. It would be a dangling participle or dangling modifier, dangling element. Doesn't modify any. There's no word that the modifying clause modifies. Going for a 15-pointer. Here's your toss-up. Name the river that forms much of the boundary between Oklahoma and Texas. Notre Dame, Andre.
The Red River.
Correct, Andre. 15-point bonus. There are 4 states in which over 60% of the land area is owned by the federal government. For 5 points each, name 3 of those 4 states. Andre?
Nevada, Arizona, and Alaska.
I'll give you 2 for 10 points. Nevada and Alaska are. Arizona's not one of those. Idaho and Utah would be the other 2. Interestingly, almost a third of all the land in the U.S. is owned by the federal government. Here's your toss-up, going for a 10-pointer. Homophones are words having the same pronunciation but different meanings and origins. For 10 points, give me the common pronunciation of the 2 homophones that mean as follows. Agreement is the first meaning, and the second meaning is act of rising. It's Notre Dame, Matt. Not concur. Over to Lehighton, toss up. And there's no response from Lehighton. It would be assent, spelled A-S-S-E-N-T in the first case, A-S-C-E-N-T in the second. Another toss-up. Theodore Roosevelt was president when the Panama Canal Zone was acquired by the U.S. For 10 points, who was president when the Panama... Notre Dame, Andre.
Jimmy Carter.
Incorrect. Going over to Lehighton, I'll finish it. Theodore Roosevelt was president when the Panama Canal Zone was acquired by the United States. Who was president when the Panama Canal was open to shipping? John?
Wilson.
Correct, Woodrow Wilson. 1914, it was open to shipping. Bonus 10-pointer. The trek of the Cherokee Nation from their homeland in Georgia to Indian Territory in Oklahoma was filled with many hardships. By what name did this journey become known? John?
The Trail of Tears.
Correct. It happened in the 1830s. Toss up. Going for a 10-pointer. Give me the first and last names of the writer-director of the 1986 motion picture entitled Platoon. Lehighton.
Oliver Stone.
You are correct. Bonus 10-pointer. Rudder Grange and a series of stories which became known as Pomona's Travels are 2 of this author's works. He's noted most famously, however, for his story entitled The Lady or the Tiger. Naming. No response from the Lehighton team. It's Frank R. Stockton. Frank Stockton. Name the host. Toss up. Name the host of ABC News Nightline. Lehighton, John.
Ted Koppel.
Correct. Bonus 10-pointer. Name the Japanese corporation that was hit in 1987 with an import ban by angry U.S. senators after the disclosure that it had sold state-of-the-art milling machinery to the Soviet Union. John?
Toshiba.
Correct. Toss-up. A cockamamie scheme is one that's foolish or absurd. Give me any one of the 4 acceptable spellings of cockamamie. No response. I'll give you just 2 of them. C-O-C-K-A-M-A-M-I-E. You can put a Y on the end. In fact, in the Oxford Dictionary, you could actually substitute the final M, or the M in that, for N. Cockananey, cockananey. Here's your toss-up. Give me the 6-letter term that refers to a meeting of a party's members in the legislature. Lehighton, John.
Caucus.
Correct. To decide upon such questions as organization, committee assignments, and prospective legislative bills. I'm going to give you 2 state nicknames, John. For 5 points apiece, you identify the state. The first one is the Coyote State. John.
Wyoming.
No, it's South Dakota. The Show Me State. John?
Missouri.
Correct. 5 points out of a possible 10. Name the French explorer who discovered the St. Lawrence River. Lehighton, John.
Cartier.
Jacques Cartier, summer 1534. Bonus 10-pointer, multiple choice, John. From the following, I'm asking the question, the bonus question. The buzzer is sounded. That's the final score. And the final score is, if I can have some help, 265 to 100. 265 for Lehighton, 100 for Notre Dame. Andre, you and Mike, we're going to wish success in college next year. Joe, Matt, we'll see you back again. Lehighton, we congratulate you. We're going to see you back here again in the second round, early April, against the winner of next week's contest, which is between Emmaus and Deerhoff High Schools. This is Harry Price. Thank you for being with us, and good night.
Funding for Scholastic Scrimmage is provided by the Air Products Foundation. The foundation is supported by donations from Air Products and Chemicals Incorporated as a charitable organization whose contributions provide support for educational, cultural, health, and community programs in the Lehigh Valley. The series is also made possible by Channel 39 School Services participating districts.